Hello. We're going to need a table of contents in our publication, so how do we go about doing this? Well, InDesign will help us as long as we have certain things set up correctly. Of course, we do need page numbers, and you can see with mine that I'm using small Roman numerals in my first part of my text. Let's actually just look at the Pages panel. You can see that I've got Roman numerals up until the actual text itself starts. So for the introductory part, where I've got something about it, where I've explained, things like why I've done this and so forth. I'm using small Romans for that, whereas for this section, and this is a new section here, let me just remind you about that. This is actually now a new section, so this shows me that this is a new section starting here, and the page numbers start here at page 1. Okay, so that's just quite normal to have the actual text that you expect people to start reading after the introduction and after the prelim pages would be number 1. Anyway, the important point is that's one step. So a table of contents is really meaningless unless when we turn the pages we find that page number. That's the whole point of it. It helps us navigate through the document from the table of contents. Now, the other thing that we need in order to get InDesign to help us do this is that we need the locations for these items in the table of contents. We need them to be styled specifically with those styles that we know we can make use of in the table of contents. This doesn't make any sense really until I start to do it. So I'm just going to dig in here to, say, for example, this spread here. Now, because what I want in my table of contents is I want to be able to direct people to the beginning of each article. And so the title of that article, as you can see, which is here, the title of that article has a paragraph style called title. Now, I know there's an override on this. That's fine because each one has an override in it to give it a different colour or different colour background. But that's not really an issue as long as the style that we're using is named the same. So if I now go to another one, I go to the next article, you'll see this one here is also title. Now, subheadings, again, if I want to make use of subheadings in my table of contents, which I'm going to attempt to do, that I've, again, consistently used a style called heading 2. So this is the key to it, really, is that we have these styles in our document and we're making use of them for each of these heading levels in the document. So this is the sort of structure of the document, if you like, and that's where I want to then what I want to use to build my table of contents. Now, if you haven't done this, you probably do need to correct this because it is going to make life a lot more difficult for you if you try to handcraft the table of contents, because it's not likely to be accurate. Anyway, you'll see I'm going to go through this process. It's quite simple once you've got everything set up correctly. Now, I've got myself a space here. I've actually created a blank page here, which I'm now going to use to accommodate my table of contents. And so what we need to do is to go to, under this menu here, under Layout, Table of Contents. Now, in this little dialog box here, what you can see here is that on the left hand side we've got a blank box. On the right hand side we've got a box with all of the styles that are being used in our document. See me scrolling up and down here, all the paragraph styles that we have access to. So what we want to do first of all is to take the title, that is what we're using for the title of each article. I'm clicking on that, I'm adding that into my paragraph styles. This is one of the styles I want to use in my table of contents. Now, I should just explain one thing. Sorry, before I go any further, I should have mentioned this right from the beginning. You need to make sure that you have clicked on more options. You may be seeing it like this, but you do need to click on more options because then this will expand to make this slightly larger box here. So now the question comes is, when we're creating the table of contents, what do we want that item to look like? In other words, what style do we want to use to make it display on our table of contents page? We don't want to use same style, because what that really means is that each of those items will look the same as it does in the heading for each of our articles. So we don't want to use that. What we need to do now is to choose one, and we're going to choose Talk Heading 1, which exists already for us, but of course we may still want to change the appearance of it, change the typeface, whatever. But we can do that later. So that's the first thing. Now we also are showing the page number for that after the entry, and the separation between the actual title and the page number is a tab. Now again, you don't need to worry about this yet, because we can always come back and change this. But that's what we definitely need to do here. Now what we need to do is to add in the second item. This is if you want the second item. You don't have to have the subheadings necessarily. You could just have a very simple table of contents which just simply displays the headings of those articles. So what I'm going to do, however, is I'm going to go to my heading 2, which is my second level heading, and I'm going to add that in as well. And for this style, what I actually want to use this time is I want to use Talk Heading 2. That's like a second level heading, and I've put that down. That is automatically coming to level 2 in our table of contents. Again, you don't need to worry about this too much right now, but that's what is going to happen, because that's going to be like a slightly indented beneath the top level heading. Now, the next thing is we just want to know how we are going to display the heading for this page. Well, it's going to say contents at the top of our page, but what it's asking us to do now is to say, how do you want that to look? Well, quite simply, I'm going to choose title. So title will be what we'll be using in the title of this page. So I'm clicking on that, and now I'm going to save the style so that I can always come back, because at the moment it's default, but I'm going to save it. And I'm saving it, and I'm going to call it by the name of my publication, actually. So I've saved it. That just is useful, because if you want to come back and redo it or edit that, you've got something to work with. So I've saved that, and now I'm going to click OK. Yeah, it's asking me about overset text. I know I've got some overset text, but I'm not concerned about that. I'm going to say, yes, I do. Now you'll see that we have on the cursor, we have the actual text of the table of contents. So I'm going to just drop that down into that corner there. I've also got to bring it down further, actually, because of course in my case I'm using this extended block above it. That's part of my style. So there we have it then. That's my table of contents, and as you can see, it's displaying the page numbers over here on the right hand side. The page numbers themselves can be a different style if we want to, and if I go to my character styles, I don't have a style ready for it, but I could create a special style for the page numbers so that they are looking different from the rest of the text. But again, that's just icing on the cake, really, if I can put it like that. You don't have to do that, and you can see that all we've got here now are the styles for each of these things. Are what we chose. We chose these styles: Talk Heading 2 and Talk Heading 1 and Talk Heading 2, and those really can be changed. We can change to make them look as we want them to look. But the important point is that we've used InDesign's inbuilt algorithms to go through, choose the text that is in those particular styles, in this case those two styles that I've chosen, and it's built the table of contents based on that. And this is important, because if we were to make some edits, some changes, if we do want to do this now, but however we haven't finished the publication, then if we go through and make further changes and things move a little bit, in other words, maybe we add a page, maybe we remove a page, whatever, so now from now on the table of contents isn't accurate, then all we need to do is to go up here to Layout and click Update Table of Contents, and that will automatically resolve any inaccuracies in the page numbering. So table of contents, that's how we do it. Reach out if you have any further problems. Okay.